Hi, Max. Nice to see you.
Hi,
How are you doing?
likewise. I'm good, thanks.
Good. Okay, so for this project, I want you to tell briefly about yourself, your background and circumstances of you living in Ukraine. So yeah, general information about you and your departure.
Yeah. So my name is Max. I'm 21 years old. I was born and raised in Lviv, Ukraine. Um, okay. I just graduated from my bachelor's degree from with cybersecurity. Currently, I'm working in data science and thinking about starting my master's degree. I'm not sure yet. Yeah. So after the war started, I didn't plan to leave my hometown initially. But I saw this program of scholarship for Ukrainian students in Taiwan, and I decided to apply because it sounded fun. And then I didn't even expect I will get in, but a month after that, I was already in Taiwan, which was great, and I spent the whole year there. And currently, I'm in the Netherlands. Um, yeah, so that's briefly about me. Is that enough, or should I add something more?
I guess, yeah, that's enough. So
Okay.
yeah. Also, yeah, I want to move it to some more like personal questions and ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So it was on the list, but I'm just curious, do you miss like home and what are your emotions and feelings towards, yeah, coming back? Is yeah.
Yeah, of course I miss home. Like who doesn't? But I also understand that it's my choice not to go back because like I'm not from Mariupol or Bucha, some cities that were completely destroyed. So my hometown is safe, and it's like it was my decision not to go back. And of course I miss my friends, I miss my family, and also the fact that it was my departure was so unexpected and I haven't planned it. It just happened and I wasn't prepared for that. It just feels like I was like I had to leave. It wasn't really my decision. So yeah, of course I miss my home.
Yeah, so same here. Mm,
Oh.
so yeah, I just also I'm curious when you were packing to for your departure, what was your like suitcase or like the what did you take with you? And I specifically interested into some objects or one object that has like some sentimental value and that reminded you of home back then. And now
Mhm.
it is like kind of a token that reminds you of home, like when you are now abroad in Taiwan or the Netherlands or yeah, away from home.
So the day the war started, Um, I remember I woke up at 4 a.m. just when everything happened, and I didn't hear any sirens. I just woke up like this was like a gut feeling or something, and I saw that the war started, and I was like, okay, I have to pack my suitcase because maybe I will have to leave. No one knew what was going to happen. So, and the first thing I packed was this plush rabbit, or I'm not sure, is it rabbit or is it bunny?
Mhm.
Yeah, I packed this toy because I was in bed and it might be a little cringe, but I sleep with it. It's a very special item for me because my dad, uh, um, it was the first probably gift I ever received. My dad brought this toy to the hospital the day I was born. So I
Mhm.
had this ever since I
Wow,
remember myself. Yeah.
cute.
And I was like, I had to pack something like clothes, and it was the first thing I took. And then, of course, I packed all my like laptop, phone, some clothes, money, documents. Mm, yeah, it was a complete mess because I was trying to fit as much stuff as I could.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, yeah,
likewise.
but yeah, mm, yeah. So
The
that's
rabbit.
the sentimental thing I took with me. Yeah.
Well, I was, I currently I have a lot of feelings right now. I will now explain.
Okay.
So when you showed the rabbit, so like on the record, I didn't know the objects that my presenters represent, but it's super interesting coincidence that the first girl I interviewed, she had also the rabbit, also the wild. That's
Really?
yes, yes, that was her like Christmas present from her mom. And that's yeah, I will for sure I will send you the photo and you'll probably see the outcome. But it's
Wow.
interesting how people from completely different backgrounds. So she's from the central Ukraine and
Hmm.
she studied in the UK. And
Okay.
yeah, and she's in completely different field. So, but she's also in her 20s, and like it's kind of
Wow.
it's
What a
mind
coincidence.
blowing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great like coincidence, and yeah, it just makes me like
Yeah.
smile. And,
Rabbits rock.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's super cool. And by the way, what is the name of your rabbit? Does it have a name?
Uh, no, not really, because I had it since I was not aware that any languages exist, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, so I never even thought of naming him. Yeah, it's just the rabbit, you know.
The rabbit. I guess
Yeah,
it's kind of thoughtful for you to leave it like that because yeah, you didn't know how to name back then when you get it, and now um you don't want to like interfere
yeah.
with the language system. Wow, I'm just still in the a little bit of shock, but yeah, that makes a great story. Okay. So yeah, I also want to ask you this last question. So,
Hmm.
is there any other personally valuable objects that you regret not taking? Yeah, and is it something that makes you nostalgic and also like a little bit homesick, like specifically this object or some
Mm,
object, several, it could be several, or maybe like some place back home should be.
so I regret not taking my winter clothes because I thought it would be warm the whole year in Taiwan, but it was a huge mistake. Uh, But jokes aside, I also regret not taking any pictures or photo albums because I felt like I have so many on my phone, but they do not give the same nostalgia. They do not have the same history when you take like the album, the physical album, and you go through the pictures. So yeah, I regret not taking any of those stuff, but also. mm, yeah, the pictures and mm, yeah, that's probably it.
Mhm,
Just the pictures,
mhm.
because everything else you can buy probably, you know.
Yeah, yeah, true. By the way, now when you're in Europe, I guess it's easier for you to ask somebody to send the pictures if you feel.
Yeah, it's much easier. Yeah,
But
it is.
yeah,
Maybe I should actually. I just forgot about it. Yeah, it's a good thing you asked me, you know.
yeah. Okay, I guess I am out of questions. Yeah, thanks you a lot for your sharing. It was kind of surprising and yeah, very cute. Okay, yeah,
Thanks.
thanks for this.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.
Hi, Sonia. Glad
Hello.
to see you. Okay, for this project, I want you to briefly tell me about yourself and your background, and also the reasons for you leaving Ukraine, and also yeah, specifically after the full-scale invasion, and also the reasons why you're abroad right now. So yeah.
So my name is Sofia. I'm a lawyer. Uh, um, I left Ukraine not like because of the full-scale invasion, but during the full-scale invasion, and the reason was to go abroad to study. I'm studying in London in Queen Mary University, and I'm on my way to get in my second LLM, my second master's in law. My first one was Ukrainian law, and now I'm studying international law because I'm interested in international taxation and tax policy making. And I'm planning to go back to Ukraine and help rebuild Ukraine somehow with the knowledge that I get here. I used to work as a lawyer in different sectors, in NGO sector, in private sector in a law firm, and then I worked for government. Basically, I worked in the Supreme Audit Institution of Ukraine, the accounting chamber, And I really hope to go back and work in the public sector again in policymaking.
Cool, thank you. So yeah, before I move to the topic of my project, I also want to ask you, if you're sometimes you miss your home, and how do you feel if you sometimes get sentimental about like your home city or your, I don't know, common setting and everything. So yeah, tell me more about this.
I really feel sentimental and homesick from time to time, but what helps me is telling people not from Ukraine, telling friends whom I got here, new friends about my country and about customs. I've introduced the concept of borscht and salo to a lot of people, which is like traditional Ukrainian food, and I'm teaching them some Ukrainian words and telling them about my country. They tell me about their countries in return. And when it was really snowing a few days ago in Kyiv and in other Ukrainian cities, I was just like walking around and showing people photographs of snow, and some people who are in London now and whom I communicate with have never even seen snow in their life. So I'm kind of inviting everybody to visit Ukraine once it's safe. So it helps to deal with homesickness a lot, because you kind of share some good memories with others, and it helps.
Yeah, I agree. I also feel like that. I feel like sometimes that every Ukrainian right now, like during this difficult time, we're whether we want it or not, we have some roles as a like cultural ambassadors, and we somehow like promote and share our like culture and knowledge about our country. So yeah, I guess it also helps a bit with dealing with homesickness and all this like difficult feelings about wanting to be there to support your family and friends, and also like the country. And yeah, and I think it's also crucial. So yeah, now I want to move to the topic of my project. I want to ask you to show some sentimental object you took with you when you left for your studies, and the one that reminds you of home, or maybe some other experiences that you miss. And yeah, I want you to tell more about that, and yeah, and to tell how you also think it helps you to deal with this homesickness.
Yeah, so my object is a cup. It looks like this. It has a cat on it, and like it is written here, humans, you have rights. This is a very important cat in my life, one of my most important cats in my life. This is a cat that used to live in the office. I mentioned that I have work experience in NGO sector, and my first work was in one Ukrainian NGO, which was helping, like, which had a legal clinic for labor law and social security law issues, and which was organizing different kinds of like anti-corruption initiatives and initiatives in terms of labor law and security and social security. And this cat, it used to live in that office. It's very sad that it passed away already, but we have a memory of him on merch of this organization, and I still have very warm and friendly relations with people who continue working in that organization. And it's weird because it's so symbolic, because this is like a cup, and I can put some comforting drink in it, like warm tea, warm coffee, a cocoa, a hot chocolate, and just have it with me all the time. And it reminds me of my friends. It reminds me of some comforting things, and it's really practical at the same time. Plus, every time I look at it, I see that it's written, humans, you have rights. And I understand that I'm a human being, and all people who surround me are also human beings, so that we need to respect each other and respect each other's rights and personalities. It's like a very reassuring thing in many ways.
Wow, thank you. Well, I think I want to make like a small comment. I think it both reflects your values and also reminds you of your friends and of your home and of your previous work, as well as like something comforting and warm and something that can, yeah, and that's something you use daily. And yeah, I think it's a great story. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, also another question I want to ask is there maybe another valuable object that you forgot at home, or maybe that you intentionally didn't take, but you regret not taking?
I have a great collection of books of
I
my
know.
favorite Ukrainian authors at home. Like I have a home library, and I wouldn't count it as like a single object because it has a lot of fragments, a lot of elements. But I did not take any books with me just because it's too hard to transport them and too expensive. But I really miss my like library as a whole, home library as a concept. I've been buying books here. I have no idea how I'll transport them back to Ukraine. But I have like a new small library here. But nonetheless, I really miss this feeling that you can just approach the bookshelves and take one of your favorite books and just open it and touch the pages, randomly like reread one of your favorite poems or a piece of your favorite author. So yes, I miss my home library as a concept, I would say.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And yeah, and maybe sometimes I also miss like taking the book and maybe discovering some old note that I forgot about.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, maybe some note that I might be ashamed right now. So or something like that. So yeah, it's kind of yeah, that's very homely feeling. And having some of your like mind in a collection. So yeah, thank you so much for this interview. And yeah, I hope that we will soon be having tea in your library after you get your degree. And yeah.
Perfect idea. Love it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
bye. Okay, hi Lera. Glad to see you. Okay, so for this project, I want you to briefly tell about yourself, your background, and the reasons why you left Ukraine after the full-scale invasion, circumstances, and all of this. Like briefly, yeah, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so my name is Valeria. I work as graphic designer, and I always worked from home. So I never had a need to work from the office. So basically, that allows me to work from anywhere in the world. But the reason I left is obviously Russian invasion, because in my town, in my hometown, there was like a military base for regular trainings of soldiers. And at the first day, I woke up from explosion because obviously Russians throw a bomb on it. And I was looking from my window, like observing the smoke coming from like afar. And it was very terrifying, honestly. And I probably never felt so much fear in my life because it's like fear that's literally you can physically feel how like a cold hand squeezing all of your intestines and you just feel paralyzed, can do anything. So that's that day I met with my mom and my younger brother, and we decided to go to her house, which is like in rural area, a bit far from my town. And at that time, there have been a lot of soldiers around, and they started to dig trenches, and it was quite worrying again because this road, which my mom's house is standing on, this road leads directly to Moscow. It's like connects like the international autobahn. I don't know how to call it. Anyway,
Road.
and so we just slept there one night, and we've been again hearing a lot of explosions during the night. And my mom decided that we need to leave at least for a little bit. And that's how we decided to just pack our things and go. And it was very chaotic packing because my mom, she's usually not a spontaneous person. She's into meticulous planning all the time. But that morning she was like, no, we're doing this immediately. And it was like very chaotic and erratic, and everyone was worried because we didn't know what to do. And I didn't pack basically any things. Or like I was like left with 2 pairs of clothes or something like that, because I thought like, okay, if I'm going to be a refugee now, I don't need anything. I don't deserve nice things or something. But yeah, I don't know why I had such like worldview at the time. Obviously, it's silly, but you don't think clearly in such circumstances.
True.
And yeah, the only thing that I took like for myself, like to feel like myself, I don't know, it was the book. This book, it's called Behind the Scenes of the Empire. And this is a book of my professor from my university where I studied. It's a Kyiv Mahila Academy. So here's her lovely face. And I don't know, I was reading this book at the time and I didn't even like it that much. And because this all I already knew from my courses at university, because I studied philology and literature. And like, especially my one of my theses, it was connected with post-colonial studies of Ukrainian literature. So, and I don't know, I just felt that this book might remind me of home, of who I am, of what I like. So yeah, that's what I took with me. I took a book and a couple of pants with the holes, because again, I didn't deserve nice things. Anyway, but why? So currently I'm in France, and actually it's probably I wouldn't even left Ukraine. I think I didn't want to leave that much, but the point is I had a boyfriend, he's French, and we've been dating before the full-scale invasion for a year. And we've been knowing each other for a year even before, so we like were together like for 2 years basically. And a year we had long distance relationship when we were just, I was coming to him mostly, and he came to Ukraine as well, and we walked around in Kyiv. It was very lovely. And but yeah, mostly I was visiting him because my work was more flexible, and I was able to spend time in Paris. And it was nice, but I didn't really imagine myself living in France. Never. I don't know why. I thought like he will move to Ukraine and he kind of wanted to, but yeah, the full-scale invasion changed that plans. That's why I'm in Paris now. I'm in France, so because of my boyfriend basically. And yeah, he came to me to pick me up. So like we came to the border, and near the border, my mom had friends who lived in Germany for a long time. So my mom's friends picked us up and took us to Germany, to the city around Frankfurt. And then my boyfriend came and he picked me up, and we just say goodbye to my mom and my brother and went to live in here. So that's it. That's the story.
Wow, that's quite a story. Well, actually, yeah, to me, even right now, books, it's a kind of a luxury. I mean, like, I'm a student, I'm a master's student, and mostly I borrow books from the library because I don't know where to carry them. And like, I miss a little bit the feeling, the concept of my own library. Like when I have a chance to take a notes in my book directly, or just to know that it's my possession. And it's kind of, I know that I understand that it's was your spontaneous choice, but it's kind of cool that you just took like something that reminds you of Kyiv Mahila Academy, and just something, your identity and something you're interested in. Yeah, and some pair of clothes. That's kind of cool. And also, I'm interested in what you said about that refugees, like since you are a refugee, you don't deserve like nice things. I guess it's a preconception of your like previous image about refugees, like that the refugee it's someone who is fleeing from poverty, not from some other circumstances like war. So yeah, basically it's kind of, I think it's the same that many people in Europe met this like preconceptions about refugees, and when they met like actual refugees like Ukrainian women, often the one who go abroad, they're like more middle class or even upper status, whatever. So they actually they have like resources. And yeah, that's kind of interesting that in our heads like refugee it's someone who is struggling also financially, but it's not always the case. Yeah, but it's kind of interesting that you also had this.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Ukrainians, they kind of like ruining the image of a perfect refugee,
Yeah.
because okay, it's a very weird thing to say, like a perfect refugee.
Yeah,
There is no such thing as perfect refugee, but like in the general mind, it feels like a refugee person is like someone's poor, someone who's struggling very much, someone who is like fleeing the country in search of better conditions of life, because like we used to that like usually it's like somewhere from Afghanistan or like from Iran, like somewhere where the governments are very oppressive and people just like don't have sometimes very nice conditions or education, or like it's really tough, and it's awful thing to say that there is a perfect refugee, but I think Ukrainians are not into this category, and that's why some people like being I've seen a lot of posts at the after beginning of invasion, like, oh, you see this Ukrainian like luxurious car in the city center somewhere in Berlin with like Ukrainian numbers. Ooh, they are not a refugees, la la. It's like, hello, like this person could just drive from a city occupied by Russians, where Russians were shooting from tanks at the passing by cars, and you just tell them, oh, it's not a refugee enough. Like, there is no such thing. And I don't know, it was very silly for me too, because when I came, I literally felt like I don't deserve anything now. Like I don't need to have things.
Like
And
what?
yeah, I don't know why. It was like such a stupid idea in my head. It was very confusing, but yeah, now I kind of feel better about it. And every time when I coming back to, I haven't been at home like very often, but I've been like 2 times since I left. And every time I'm coming back, I taken more books with me, because this is very satisfying. Like here, I'm like, my boyfriend, he has a lot of books, like and it's in French, obviously. And when I like open, and I took all my possessions, priceless possessions with me. So, and when I open the book and I see like a Cyrillic text, like something in Ukrainian, it's just very nice and pleasant. Like, it's not necessarily that I open them every day. It's not necessarily that I read them every day. No, I don't do that. But it's just very nice to have them standing on a shelf, having like Ukrainian Cyrillic text on it. And I just like, it feels nicer. It feels like at home, because I always had like a big library. I was reading a lot when I was a teenager. And then when I was studying philology and literature, I was again reading a lot. Maybe not buying books, but like borrowing them from the library. But like having books, it was just very homey feeling for me all the time. And I always dream like when I will be like living in my house, which I will buy, I will have like a huge wall full of books and library. Yeah, that's it. That's basically the dream. That's why probably I grabbed the book, which is like very basic choice. I don't know, but it's something that helps me to feel at home.
Well, yeah, you said like it's a very ordinary choice, but actually you're the first person who is like, you're the fifth interviewee, and you're the first person who is presenting the book, even though I expected from other people also to, like, I thought maybe that was my idea, that everyone will present a book. I was like, I was sure about that. But yeah, and also what you said, that it's an ordinary thing, and now it's something like heart melting, and when you open and there is a Ukrainian letters and everything, so it's kind of different how it's shifted. Something ordinary became something like precious, and yeah, it's kind of also interesting how this like something we took for granted, it's, yeah, now it's something that's really inspirational, even in a daily life. Yeah, and also I have a last question to ask. If there is some, okay, you already said that you packed lightly. You didn't have any like emergency backpack or anything. So yeah, maybe there's something that you specifically regret not taking like that day. So you were thinking, oh my God, maybe I should take like another book, or just, yeah, anything.
Actually, I had like emergency backpack, and it was only laptop in there. and that's it, just the laptop. Because I need it for work, and I thought I will be working, I will be so active, I will be just working every day. And then I've spent like 2 or 3 days just in the car, in the traffic jam to the border, and we've been literally standing in the traffic jam for 2 days. So I was not really working. It was so terrible, like awful. This was the whole story. There was even a man who was putting a gun at us and like threatening us to go. It's a long story. It's anyway. So yeah, and the things that I regret not taking is probably the documents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not. I mean, I took my passport, so that's it. But then I realized that in France, you still need to have like your birth certificate if you want to get like medical card. And I didn't have my birth certificate because I mean, in Ukraine, the documents that I had for all my life is like a passport and like a tax paper, you know, like with your tax number. That's all my documents, all my like documents that I had in Ukraine. And in France, you need to have like your birth certificate and like and also when I was a teenager, I changed my surname to have my mother's surname. So I also have a certificate of changing the surname. And yeah, so I have like, and I never use them. And here I need them, and I was like, why? Why do you need them? Like, so yeah, I was also not taking that unnecessary documents that I thought. And also, yeah, but when I came back home, I took actually all the documents, and I took my like the graduation papers as well, like from both of my universities. So yeah, probably it's a practical, but you need to take the documents.
Yeah, so yeah, that's an advice for someone who is playing, but I hope that nobody who's watching it will use this advice. Nobody will experience such things. Yeah, but also I think it's often I hear from my friends and like from people I know that even though war brought a lot of like tragedy in our lives, but also we also experience like some good things. Like to me, like personally, I never had a chance to study abroad, but that was my dream of many years. And now I'm here in total unknown country, like learning like language. I was not even imagining I will be learning and everything. And you as like reconnected with your boyfriend, even though you didn't like plan and everything. Yeah, that's also interesting how how work can be like both.
Yeah. And we are getting married as well. So
oh wow, congrats. Wow.
Yeah, so it's like very happy event for me because he's amazing person. He's the most amazing partner that I ever had. Very supportive, very nice, very kind, very and yeah. So I'm really happy to be with him in this time. And he was so supportive. And when I just came, I was crying a lot because I felt like very disconnected and disoriented. And his attitude was so supportive. And he tried to understand like what's happening with me, how do I feel. And even now, sometimes like when I meet with his friends or something, like at the day I can read the negative news, like, you know, about Ukraine, like some Russians stole art from Kherson Museum, or like Russians bombed a village which nearby to my grandma's village. And this is all devastating. And I still read this news and I still feel very involved in what's happening. So sometimes I feel like, you know, like there is fun all around me and I'm just like this black cloud of sadness. So, and he's very understanding in this as well. And yeah, so it's very nice to have a person who trying to understand you.
Yeah, I'm glad. And I think that's a very good story, like, and that now that you have this also this reconnection. Yeah, and the cool story of your book as well. That's something that reminds you.
Sorry, I have something that my brother took. My brother, so he's like 11 years younger than me. So he was like 15 when the invasion started. And for all of his childhood, he loved 2 cartoons. One is Cars, and there was and the other one is How to Train Your Dragon. And How to Train Your Dragon was his ultimate favorite. He was rewatching it like non-stop all the time. He watched all the movies, all the animated series, and for his for his birthday or at New Year's, I was gifting him some figurines of Toothless from like the main black dragon from there. And I remember this moment. I was I didn't have any like big bags when I was packing my things, so I had like only my mom's yoga like a small yoga bag, which is like this and like this, so it's like a tube, and I was rolling my clothes just like to try to fit them inside. And my brother, like, he came to me and he's like, "Can you fit this, please?" And he put his Toothless figurine in my hands, and he like, "Can you please fit this?" And I'm like, "Oh, but there is no place." But I understood that it's like important to him as well. And I was like, "Okay, I'm just like throwing away something and I'm putting this Toothless figurine in there, so just everything will fit." Yeah, so even my brother, yes, he had like this figurine of Toothless that he took with him.
Cool. Yeah, it's interesting.
Also, like, he's like 15, like he's not really like into toys. Like his obsession with Toothless, it was like a bit like faded and gone at that point, but still he took something that reminded him of childhood, I guess.
Yeah. I also like, it's interesting that the first two interviewees, they took this. It was kind of shocking to me. They took the same object. They took White Rabbit that their parents gave them. So that people, they didn't know each other, but they're the same age. That was kind of. I was really shocked, and yeah, it's interesting how people like before 20s they took something that reminds them of childhood, probably because they want to continue experiencing their childhood and carelessness and all this, like, that's my guess. I don't.
And it's a very happy memories. Because my brother, he was obsessed. He watched everything what existed, like all the piece of content about How to Train Your Dragon. He watched it and rewatched it like a million times, and he played the game on the laptop. Oh my god. Oh God. So I don't know, can you hear this or no, but every Wednesday in France, it's like a day of checkups of the air raid sirens.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can hear this. I will open the window. No? The noise?
Yeah, I hear a little bit, yes.
Yeah, and every time, like, it's just a regular checkup. It's like every month. It's like every month. And every time when I hear the sound, it's like, it's still very like tense for me. Yeah, because I don't know, they hear the sound like every month. It's regular checkup. For them it's like nothing, but yeah, for me it's still a bit tense because I know that there is a real danger that can come with this sound. And yeah, this is like a bit nervous as well.
Yeah, I think that sound can also be like this kind of objectified memory that we carry within ourselves, and it's a kind of a like like a sound that we know the meaning, and the meaning will always be the same no matter how many differences. Yeah. Okay, thank you once again for the story. Now I'm out of the questions. Yeah, but still, I want to congratulate you one more time, and I think that's a story with a very cool ending. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Bye. Hi, Yuta. Glad to see you. Yeah, so okay, for my project, I want you to briefly introduce yourself or your background, and also the reasons why you left Ukraine after the full-scale invasion, and all of the circumstances, etc. So yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'm from Kharkiv. It's city near Russia border, so it was pretty hardly attacked when war started. But I was living in Kiev at that time, so my family was Kharkiv. And I decided to leave Ukraine because I need to support my family in Kharkiv, because now in Kharkiv is not a job, and my mom can't work well, and I need to find like a good job because I lost my income also because of war. And I applied to scholarship to Taiwan University, and fortunately they accept me. And I come to Taiwan to graduate here, live here, and find good job and support my family also.
Oh, okay. And also, yeah, before I jump to the like the theme of the project, the question about the object, I want you to ask you how you feel like about your home right now. Do you feel like homesick sometimes, or are you thinking about like coming back? Are you longing to visiting? So yes, this kind of yeah, question.
Of course, I feel homesick because, of course, I miss my family and I want to live in Ukraine, but unfortunately, I can't find good job in Ukraine. And I think Taiwan is a good place to live. So I decided to live here because I like Asia and I wanted to go to work in Asia before the war. So Taiwan is a good choice for me.
Yeah, so I guess like after your graduation, you will be able to find job either in Ukraine or in Taiwan. So yeah, I think it's not going to be a problem. So yeah, and asking about the object itself. So I want you to tell about the specific object that like as in relation to your living home that have like some specific sentimental value. Yeah, and how does it become an embodiment of your sense of home and memories obtained before experiencing the war?
Yeah, at first, I would show my object. It's like small painting.
Cute.
And this is like small words from my grandma, because this picture was painted by my grandma, because she liked to make some paintings or something like that when she became like an old woman. Uh, she started to paint because it was her dream when she was younger, but she can't do it because she was busy at work, busy with children and everything like this. And I asked my grandma to paint me some small pictures that I can bring with me to Taiwan, because when I feel like homesick, I can watch at this small painting and feel better. And I put this painting at my wall. And now when I'm watching to this painting, I feel so good, but miss my home so much.
Yeah, wow, that's really like heart melting, and it's kind of both like relation to your family and also to your like home country. Yeah, and it's kind of like I think it's also gives you also like it's a very hopeful image, like you know, like flowers and everything is very like positive. So yeah, I think it's a great thing to remind you of home.
Also,
And
I think it's very good picture because like this is small flowers. It's my favorite grandmother of
oh
flowers. And this is like blue and yellow, like Ukrainian.
yeah, like Ukrainian flag. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
that's super cool. Mm, and also, yeah, and the last question I want to ask you about the maybe there are some valuable object or several objects that you regret not taking. So yeah, and is that object or a set of objects is something that makes you nostalgic and wanting to go home just to take it back, or something that yeah, so makes you eager to come back to home?
I can tell that I miss buckwheat very much. So maybe when I go to Ukraine next time, I would bring a lot of this to Taiwan, because Taiwan doesn't have buckwheat. But if we are talking serious, maybe it's not object, but I want to take my mom to travel to Taiwan. Because she didn't see a lot of places, and in the future I want my mom to go to Taiwan and travel some very interesting places. I would show her some beautiful sights here.
Yeah, yeah. I hope it will be possible, yeah, because Taiwan is really has a lot to offer, yeah. And I feel like even though I'm living here like almost 2 years, I feel like I haven't seen like all of it. Like I still have a list of like things I want to see, and I think it's very cool to see it with your like family, with your closest one. So yeah, that's a very cool dream and cool goal to do. Wow, okay, thank you. I think I'm out of questions. Thanks a lot for your sharing. Yeah, and see you in class.
No problems. Thank you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Mhm,
Okay. Hi, Elena. Nice to see you. Glad to see you. So yeah, due to this project, I want you to tell briefly about yourself and about your background, as well as reasons and circumstances for leaving Ukraine after the full-scale invasion of Russia.
Hello, Katya. Nice to meet you. I'm very happy to be part of this research project. So my name is Olena Yurchenko. I work as senior analyst for Truman and as senior advisor on open source intelligence and analytics for the Economic Security Council of Ukraine. I'm also a scholar for Central and Eastern European, Russian, and Eurasian studies at the University of Glasgow and at the University of Tartu. Right now, I reside in Sarajevo, where I study at the University of Sarajevo. And there I'm researching the European Union's indifferent response to the Russian involvement in the Western Balkans. I'm very interested in open source intelligence and international relations in general, especially in the Western Balkans and in the post-Soviet space. But I call myself a jack of all trades because you can talk with me about sanctions policy, export control, memory politics, whatever. Talking about the circumstances of my leave from Ukraine, first time I left Ukraine in March 2022, almost immediately after the beginning of the full-scale invasion. And I left as a refugee for Latvia because me and my mom, we have relatives there. And I stayed in Latvia for 6 months. And after that, I'm going back and forth, to Ukraine and out, because I'm studying abroad right now. So after that, I was in Estonia, in the United Kingdom, in Bosnia, in Austria, in Slovakia, even in the United States. But my first ever experience, which is connected with full-scale invasion, would be March 2022, Latvia.
Wow, got it. Yeah, thanks a lot for your introduction. You have a very like serious background, and also the background that signifies that you are interested in protecting your country in national interests as well as international relations. Yeah, but now I want to move into the personal question, the theme of this research project. So I want to ask you, in March 2022, when you left Ukraine, what did you feel, and what did you take with you? And specifically, I want you to ask about one object with a specific sentimental value that you carry with yourself as a reminder of your home.
Obviously, when the full-scale invasion started, I felt terrible, not only as a Ukrainian, but also as a scholar of international relations, because just before the full-scale invasion started, it was the 22nd of February, at my institute, at the Institute of International Relations, where I got my bachelor's degree, we were submitting an assignment which was related to the United States Charter. So the idea was that you memorize the Ukrainian and English version of it, and when a teacher asks you to recite one particular paragraph, you see the Ukrainian version of it, and you in return have to produce English one, and vice versa. And it was especially depressing for me because we see all these principles which are in the United Nations Charter, and just 2 days before the full-scale invasion started, I was I was just reciting them as the assignment. And the day the full-scale invasion started, I simply lit this copy of United Nations Charter on fire, because it meant nothing. There were many conflicts in the international politics after the United Nations organization was established, but for me it was more than a breaking point. Of course, the war started back in 2014, but it was on a completely different scale. So I felt absolutely terrible. I didn't want to leave my house, my home. Yet at the same time, for me, it turned into a kind of a hot bath, because I couldn't really feel safe here. I knew that I can be literally killed and shelled any minute. Since the very first day of invasion, me and my mom, we embarked on somehow trying to protect the house, putting on tape on the glass windows, or trying to insulate the roof from potential incinerations. But it was all in vain, in the sense that it doesn't give you this sense of protection and safety. The shelter in my small town wasn't even open properly, or equipped properly to contain so much people during the raid. And the worst came when the blog post was established right beside our house. So our house is situated at in the vicinity of the town as it is. So it's like the first breaking point where a potential invader comes, where the hostilities will take place. And the moment this blog post was established, we decided that no, we're going, because it's too dangerous. And actually, just as we left, an oil facility in our town was bombed, and it was also a driving point for many people to leave the city. So
sorry, interrupt you. What is the town that you're talking about?
It's Chernihiv. It's in Zhytomyr region in Ukraine. Zhytomyr region is, as you probably remember, it was quite critical for Russians to conduct the offensive, because when they failed to do the special ops operation in Hostomel and to take Kyiv very fast, they tried to get to Kyiv through Zhytomyr region. That means taking Malin, Korostень, etc. And it's literally bordering. It's literally bordering Belarus, so it was kind of obvious. And back in the day, of course, it cannot be comparable with what was taking place in eastern part or in southern parts. But I was extremely scared and anxious, because I'm a scholar of international relations. I know almost everything about the Balkan Wars, but I never ever imagined experiencing this myself. And also, let me make this clear. I am very lucky, because I'm safe. My mom is safe, and I only have to worry about my mom. And I wasn't physically wounded. Of course, no one can talk about some kind of mental stability, etc. But yeah, it's absolutely. I consider myself the happiest, the luckiest person in all world, because I have so many close friends, acquaintances, people who I know which are suffering and have suffered so much more, that it absolutely breaks my heart, and sometimes makes me kind of thank God, or whatever force this is behind it. I am safe, and my mom is safe. So yeah, turning to the sentimental object. Sorry for such a verbose response. I just tried to elaborate on my feelings a bit. So when we were leaving for Latvia, I took a bunny, a teddy bunny with myself, just my small toy, I would say. Although I'm a full-grown woman, I'm like 20 years old at the time the invasion started. I really like animals and pets. But unfortunately, I do not have one because I am traveling around and I cannot really, take a dog or a cat with me. And, it creates many constraints in terms of your mobility, in terms of your ability to take time. And that is why I do not have a pet right now, but I hope that when I'm done with my master's degree, I'm getting back home and we will have a small puppy. My mom promised me, but back in the day when the full scale invasion began, I took with myself my bunny. His name is Bonya, Bonya. It's very simple. It's kind of, I can say, the
Popular name.
common and popular name. Yeah, it probably is not something out of the blue, but still, I really liked him. This is a small gift from my mom. I know that it might seem strange, but I never played Barbies and dolls when I was a little girl, but I always played with pets, like, I mean, teddy bears and, pet toys, because I even dreamed of becoming animal doctor. But even if as I am a full-grown woman, I still carry these tokens of sentiment around. So I took my Ponya. Why it's so significant for me? Because it is connected with the most precious memories. The memories would be that it was like winter of 2020, 2021. COVID was still raging. I was at home with my mom, but I know that for many people it was quite a depressing time. And I absolutely understand that. But for me, I was really happy because I had the chance to live with my mom. And normally when you leave your home when you are 17, you never go back for a long period of time. But I lived with my mom, and we are in very good relations. And it was really good because I was studying remotely, obviously, and mom provided me with all the sustenance and convenience, and it's wonderful, especially when you're a student, you're constantly hungry and you do not have time, for instance, for all these household duties. So mom helped me with that. Mom helped me to have some quality time. We had a lot of long walks around our town. We cooked together. We watched films together, and I really like winter and winter holiday season. Although I'm not an athlete, although I'm not a religious person, but I adore Christmas, because for me it's like time for my decoration rage, because I am very much invested in that. So mom bought me this bunny in this store where we were picking decorations for our Christmas tree. And I was almost sobbing because the bunny is really cute. He's like of a milk color, and it reminded me of the best memories of my childhood when mom used to buy me anything I wanted, and even make clothes for my little toys. So it was like, yeah, I'm a full-grown woman, but I still have something childish in me, which makes me smoother, which makes me, not as stringent and not as cynical as the world might have made me over the years. And this bunny was with me, as I said, since the late 2020. And I used to carry him around, put him beside me while I was reading books or watching something, etc. And the winter of 2020 to 2021 was very, very happy. And for me, like, it's very precious memory. Obviously, Bonnie lived with us after that, so to speak, but his origins date back to the last happy winter in my life so far, because it was late February when the full-scale invasion started, but the whole winter was kind of in the shadow of this potential invasion, concerns over what might happen, whether Putin invades or not. So yeah, that is why I took Bonya, and Bonya was with me in Latvia. Bonya was with me in Estonia when I embarked on my master's degree program, and he was with me in the Great Britain when I went for my second semester of master's degree. But unfortunately, Bonya is not with me right now because I was really hard up when I packed things for Bosnia, so I couldn't I couldn't remember to fit him in. But it is precisely the token of a sentimentality which connects me with my home.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I think like when you listed the countries Bonya was traveling to, I was thinking that Bonya travels more than me, so he's like so lucky.
Yes. He is a lucky one.
Lucky boy. Well, when I was listening to you, I was also thinking about one like word that described like you taking the teddy rabbit from your like good winter day spent with mom. I was thinking about the word carelessness, like some state when you are not overwhelmed with some daily routine or some survival things, and also some serious things, something that forced you to do something. And it's I think it's really like happy talking and happy memory. And yeah, that's it's I guess it's very valuable choice and valuable thing.
That's precisely what this Teddy Bunny is about, because for me, I do not consider myself like a full-grown person, absolutely responsible for her life, because I'm still studying, although I'm working, etc. And I still think that I'm very much connected to my mom, to my home, and there was no process of separation, etc. But at the same time, given the circumstances I face as an individual and as a Ukrainian, and living in a foreign country really quickly makes you quite a sufficient person, grown-up person. Yeah, for me, it was important to keep some kind of connection with my past, which was happy, where I didn't have to care about something big, something global, where all these intricacies of global politics and international law, it was just, the topic for my essay, or just the topic we discussed during the classes and workshops. And then, when you hit the button exit the application, you forget about it. Yeah, that's about carelessness. And I also would like to say that I cannot say that my life before was particularly happy, in a sense that I suffered clinical depression and still deal with the consequences of it. And for me, this bunny is also connected with the idea of healing, with the idea of the pathway to bring back the child, a small girl, which was abused, or which was kind of gaslighted into thinking very bad of herself and suffer a lot. So for me, it's also about restoring the original me and caring about my inner child, because this child didn't deserve what she endured back in the day. So yes, and in the work context, it is very meaningful. But in even overall, regardless of the full-scale invasion, it really helps me to keep this small child. No one ever had the chance to care about. Now I am taking responsibility and I care for this child.
Well, I guess well, I'm really honored that you're sharing it with me, because it's very personal, and I myself, I experienced like similar things, including depression. And I think that it's like also very brave of you that even despite the war, that you continue to dealing um, with your problems, with your anxieties, like fighting for them, and also like trying to get the pieces of yourself into some whole, like your past, like child years, and also creating something whole that you want to continue to cherish and to yeah, cherish, I guess that's a right word.
Thank
So
you
yeah.
for your appreciation. I just wanted to comment also about these mental health issues. Well, it's extremely difficult and should not be underestimated in any possible way, what everyone is dealing with. But for me also, as the full-scale invasion gave some kind of a push, because I understand that I struggle with my own demons, my own anxieties, or my own concerns, you name it. But I also have a deeper meaning right now, because I by any chance will never claim that I am the fighter of the economic sanctions front or whatever. I hate these
But
expressions.
you are. I know your work. You are.
But I'm doing my best to somehow contribute to the defense and to the strategic implications, in a sense that the future wars can be prevented or the system as a whole can be changed. Of course, this may be far-fetched, and I may be drastically overstated and really be delusional about the potential and the potential impact of my actions, but I really feel now that there is some sense of purpose, and it helps me to sustain, and it gives me more power and more inspiration to continue. My bunny back at home right now waits for me, and it means that I will return home. I will return to my mom, and we will celebrate Christmas together. We will watch the same silly movies together. There will be another winter, and I will manage to be happy even with what's going on right now, because life goes on and life continues, and my personal joy and my cherished winter memories, they deserve to be replicated and reenacted several times, because this is also part of I do not want to leave my heart, my soul, and my mental health to Russians to deal with.
Yes.
I need power to fend off the attacks, and I need power to restore my country in my own way. So I will return to my Teddy Bunny, and I know he waits for me, and I'll take him on some future trips abroad, but we will return to Ukraine eventually, because this is where our heart resides.
Yeah. Teddy Bunny needs care, needs to be taken care of. So yeah. Well, what also I had thoughts about your story, that despite that you are denying being like a grown up, and from what I hear from from the responsibilities you take, from the scope of job you've been doing, and me as your colleague, I also know the scope of job you've been doing and the impact of what you've done like recently. I think it's also, your story is about how the war makes us grown ups, like very fastly and without asking us, like whether we want to be like grown ups so fastly or we don't. So we just have to, because we have like suddenly we have all these responsibilities, like even like in our own dimensions, in our own like we all have our own like battlefields. So yeah, even if we of course like the our soldiers, our military, they do the actual fighting, but we also do not have to underestimate what we do in our positions. So yeah, thank you.
I think I wanted short comment. Maybe you can use it for some other purposes. I do not know. I give you full consent. You have my full ethical approval, so to speak. I think that this idea of fast growing up, adultness, which came to you when you didn't really want to see it coming, it's especially it's especially evident if you in regular contact with locals, I mean with foreigners. For instance, I speak with teenagers and people of my age from Estonia, from Latvia, or for instance from Germany and Austria. The context is entirely different. In the Balkans, it doesn't quite really play well because the children are also born and grown up in the shadow of the interethnic violence, which is even more complex than sometimes because for us this is a war between two states. For them, that was literally war between brothers and sisters. It's especially stark, this contrast between what people of our age in other countries are going through and how we are doing. And yeah, they look at us like, why are you working? You're supposed to study and enjoy your Erasmus months, partying around, traveling around. I really cannot establish some good warm contacts with my group mates here because I'm constantly working, studying, working, studying, working, studying. But this is the only way how I can accommodate my my survivor's guilt and my absolutely unbearable need to contribute somehow to Ukrainian resistance and Ukrainian defense. But sometimes it makes me an adult much earlier than I want to be, and it takes away some other means of happiness I could have found in Erasmus experience, for instance, or in traveling around. This is not to say that I am, that I am very, very distraught over that. No, I am perfectly content with how my life goes on in terms of work and study balance. And I still manage to experience the countries I live in and study in. At the same time, I understand that already as an adult, I am being formed under the shadow of war, and I cannot really relate with my with my peers from other countries and people of the same age. And this is maybe not a gap but a rift. And imagine this on a global scale or on a national scale.
Yeah, I totally get you. And yeah, even though sometimes I myself experience like the same things, even when I'm traveling, I'm also like looking into some things that are war related, and it's kind of different. Like even if you try, like sometimes, like in the curing depression, one of the very famous techniques is like the activation of your behavioral activation. So you just have to do it like, but in the circumstances of war, it has like very different meaning, and even despite us trying, it's really difficult. And people sometimes, like people not who are not experienced, who did not experience war, they oftenly do not understand us. So yeah, I hope this video will help to understand like people who are not in this context. And yeah, many thanks to you one more time. It was like super. I was super glad just to see you and also to make this happen.
Thank you so much for inviting me to participate, and I really hope this enriches your research or makes it, if not a good case, but one of good cases. There are many different experiences, and one can definitely, one is prone to generalizing sometimes, but it's important to give people the chance to have their voice. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Do not forget to include the photo of Teddy Bunny. Bonnie needs to be the international star because he is.
Yeah, he will. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, Lydia. Glad to see you, and thanks a lot for taking part in this project. So yeah, please tell me briefly about yourself, about your background, and also the reasons and circumstances for leaving Ukraine after the full-scale invasion.
Hi, Katya. My name is Lilia. I'm 45 years old. I'm Ukrainian native, so I was born back to USSR times, and my youth and my adult years I've spent into independent Ukraine. So I consider myself to be one of first generations of new Ukraine. All in all, I can tell you that I had and I still have quite a successful career in communications and marketing. I used to work for mostly banks, for biggest Ukrainian private-owned, international, and state banks for more than 20 years. And the reason why I had to leave Ukraine was the full-scale war. Of course, as an ambitious professional, I always dreamed to have some international experience, but I never aimed at leaving my country for some kind of immigration. So it was forceful for me. I've made this decision on the 1st of March 2022 because Russian troops came closely to the place I lived. My house is located at Borispol, close to Borispol airport. And the day before, Russian troops came to Brovary, which is just 15 minutes drive from Borispol. And we understood that they are really very close and we have to do something. Besides a missile strike into military camp, which was close to my house. So it was clear sign that we have to make some decision. And I remember it very distinctly. We were sitting in our in our how to say basement.
Mm-hmm.
So we were sitting as a family in our basement and we were checking news. And when the news came that the Russian tanks are already at the gate of Brovary, and then the second big news was that we had missile strike into military camp that was just 7 kilometers from my house. We quickly decided that we have to leave. I didn't make this decision before because, first of all, I was sure that all roads are packed with traffic jams.
Yeah.
That it's not realistic to flee out of the country. And I used to read lots of books about Second World War. And for example, there is a good book I read about France. When Germans occupied France, people tried to flee from Paris, and all roads were packed. People could not move, and it was some kind of humanitarian catastrophe.
And you had
so I was realistic.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was quite realistic that during first days of war, all roads will be blocked, and somebody will be out of fuel. There will be some traffic jams, some car accidents. So I decided to wait a bit to understand what to do. But after the events that I already mentioned, it was clear to me that we have to hurry up. My biggest fear was that Ukrainian government will explode bridges through Dnieper. And I didn't want to get caught on the left side of Dnieper. So my idea was to cross Dnieper and to do it as fast as possible, because in case of emergency or biggest threat, my guess was that Ukrainian government would most probably blow up all bridges through Dnipro. And we made a decision in the middle, like late at night, and at 5 o'clock, we start packing. Also important to mention that we had a kind of blackout, yes. At the beginning of the war, people were extremely cautious about switching off any lights, so no electricity. So we actually had to pack ourselves in almost complete darkness. I was lucky because a couple of weeks before the war, I made big cleanup of my wardrobe and my things. So actually I changed, so all my things were more or less packed, and at least they were made into order. So it took me 2 hours to put it into car, to check, to pack, to switch on and switch off all necessary engineering systems of my house. And I remember very distinctly what I took with me, not because of necessity, but because of some sentimental feeling. First of all, I took an album with pictures of my son, a big family album with pictures for more than 17 years of his life. Second, I took my blanket. I have my favorite blanket. I bought it in Reykjavik many, many years ago. It's perfect. I love it. It's my favorite thing. It's white, and I love it very much. I have it with me, and of course I took my vyshyvanka. So vyshyvanka is our national clothes, which we usually put on some festive events. It's not a type of clothes that you normally wear every day, but for me it was a symbol of our national dignity. And I was absolutely ready that my house might be destroyed. I was absolutely ready that it could be looted. So I didn't want to leave our national emblem to the Russian soldiers. That's why I took it with me. So all three things are still with me. I crossed the border. I crossed the Romanian border. It took me 23 hours to get to Romanian border. Then I crossed Romanian border, and eventually I settled in Bratislava, Slovakia. What is the thing that I would take, and I would be happy to have with me is my favorite coffee cup. It is still in Kiev, and after a year of war, I decided to buy a new coffee cup. I went to flea market in Vienna, and I bought a small vintage coffee cup, like to replace the one that I like the most. But I'm sure that I will be back to Ukraine, and I have plans to come back to Ukraine next year. So I hope that my normal life will be restored and will go on in peaceful Ukraine.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot for your responses. Well, actually, I really hope that all our lives will be restored soon, that we will all be able to come back to our peaceful daily lives with our favorite coffee mugs, with our, I don't know, daily routines. And, actually, I have some comments about what you said and the things you took. I think that all of them, like, really, like, vitally important as for our both for our national identity, also the family identity. And it's interesting that, for instance, the previous boy I interviewed, he said that the one thing he regret not taking, and currently he is in Netherlands studying master, and the one thing he regret not taking is actually his photograph album. So I guess it's really, and he said what is also interesting, that is it's the one thing he cannot buy. So it's like something, yeah. So even, and also I think that it's good that after some time at the beginning, after all we went through, we now are coming back to our memories of our favorite routines, like for instance coming back to some rituals, wanting to have our like favorite coffee mug back. I think it's very good that we are.
I can give you an example. When we just settled in Slovakia, it was like a couple of weeks after the war started, we had like our Ukrainian office. I have a friend, a colleague, and first thing she did, she went to IKEA, she bought all this cutlery, and she started baking. So every night she was baking a new cake, and every morning at the office we enjoyed a new cake made by her. And she told us that it was her way of coping with all the things that happened. And this baking routine, like normal family routine, was really very well perceived by all of us. It was a sign of like hope that it was a sign of support. It was something really homey, because of course you can go to any shop and you can buy everything. But when you make it yourself, it's more than just the food. So it's more a sign of attention, of care, of support, and it also could be an example of some routines that we take with us, and some good rituals that worth repeating.
Yeah, I guess like this homey I don't know, culinary and appealing to some rituals that people used to do like at home in the peaceful time. It's also like a great idea to maintain the mental health and to support your colleagues. I really think it's great. And by the way, before I forget, I just want to ask you about your national embroidery, national clothes. Did you happen to wear it in?
Yeah, sure. Sure, I used to wear it on the Shivanka Day, on Independence Day. So I wear it on festive events, and moreover, I can tell you that I've ordered a vyshyvanka of designer vyshyvanka to commemorate the first year of war. I've made it for myself. If you know, there is Borshivska style of embroidery. It's black and white. It's black and white, and it's about also mourning. This embroidery appeared after the war in Middle Ages, and it's traditional for a certain region of Ukraine, but the history of this black and white embroidery goes about big grief after the war. So I've ordered from one of Ukrainian designers this black and white embroidery. For me, it was a sign of 1 year of war.
And by the way, which designer? Maybe some of the
Kristina Rachitska. Yes. So she's making really great pieces. So I booked it from Kristina Rachitska.
Yeah, maybe someone who's watching it will be willing to buy it for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it's really a kind of masterpiece. So why not?
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't have any questions for now, and yeah, I'm just for I'm really grateful that you agreed to do this, and I remember you as a great professional from back days. We used to work together and have.
My pleasure, Katya. Same about you. Same about you. It was pleasure to work with you, and I'm happy to have chance to support your studies, and I hope we'll get back to some new great projects again one day.
Hopefully. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.